Right here, you come in.
All right. See, here, nobody's in.
Oh, fill in for.
Yeah, Michael.
Seriously, chair's always empty.
No one likes it.
We'll have a double weight holster today.
Now that we've done all the heavy lifting, we can't walk in here and take credit in the lab. Yeah,
That here to try to take all the credit.
yeah, that's not fair.
That's not how it works. All right, it is 1 o'clock. Do we have a motion to return to open session?
So moved.
A motion second. I guess I should have inquired. Are we ready technology wise?
Ready? We're ready.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. We are in session. Danny, did you see any glaring things that you needed to bring to our attention?
No, we checked through it. Everything was good the way it was presented. And then she sent out the final earlier this morning. Yeah, so no corrections were made. No. Maybe some rounding, little rounding here and there, but.
Okay. Anybody have anything they want to bring up before?
Just one quick general question in regards to the sheriff's request. Was that number the 551? Is that the number? Is that an annualized number, or is that the number we need now to get through to fiscal?
It's annualized.
It's annualized.
Yeah.
So that number, are we going back to retro to July 1?
Yeah, that would be the intention, yeah.
The total was 525.
Okay.
And we did make it clear that COLA is retro back to July. We did.
Yep.
Do we have an effective date?
Or
In other words, when does it, are we gonna hit payroll with it this month, or is it gonna be effective in October?
It has to be approved by excise board, has to be after budget board approves it, and it has to be published, and it has to be, approved by excise board.
will there be time for that to go in for September payroll, or is it probably going to be more likely that that will all be reflected? Any changes would be reflective in October payroll.
Excise board won't meet on it until October.
Okay. Good question, right?
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Anything else?
But if they could meet in September and approve it, there would be enough time for payroll to get it on in September.
I can answer for that.
I mean, I'm answering for.
How many days published does it have to be? 10 days?
It has to be
That's
3,
3.
we're gonna have to remember that.
but the problem is making sure I have a quorum.
I'm answering.
And I know one of
Let me answer
my
this one
people are
first.
gonna be gone. Or,
Well, I did do a little bit of checking for just my own curiosity in regards to the sales tax issues that we talked about in support of Jay. And Tulsa County has been able to reply back to me that there are actually 2 sales tax measures in place. That one was in place in '95 for the operation of the jail at 0.25 of a cent, and then in 2014, an additional 0.026 cents was passed for mental health only. But the 2 of them combined for last year's number was $36 million. Yeah, just to give this group some idea of the sales tax collection that's on the backside of the Tulsa County.
They still use some general fund dollars to operate their jail, but by and large, it's mostly coming from.
His comment to me was, "How are you doing what you're
Did you just shrug your shoulders?
doing?" I just
It's a
said,
good question.
that's just what I said. So
Yeah.
all I'm doing is just trying to find information.
Yeah. And that's, I think, something that's been bantered about for years around here. And hopefully we can find a dedicated source to help augment at least the detention center operations. But yeah. Anything? Yeah. If you have something to bring to us.
It's just gonna ask and consider the dollars that were interest off of ARPA dollars, if that could be considered to be put into capital and concept of helping with, to use Butch's words, seed corn for the new construction of the new jail. And that would help. And I'm not quite sure the current actual figures versus what's anticipated through the year. That would help if that was dropped into capital for that project.
Drop the 2 million into capital, and then the budget board at some point creates a cost center for
New jail.
the new jail, then
Yes.
that could be moved into that cost center. Is there an issue with that, Danny? Logistically?
Yeah, logistically, I think if that's gonna happen, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Because it would just come out of here and then it would be a transfer to capital projects. Now, obviously, we don't have $2 million sitting in general fund from ARPA interest, so, just know that if it's transferred the 2 million over to capital projects, that money won't be moved until there's actually $2 million to move over there. In other words, it's not ready to spend, but the transfer has been done. Kind of like what we do with employee benefits, workers' comp. We have to wait until there's enough money in general fund to be able to actually move the money over, but we budget it up front. So same concept.
If it were moved over to capital projects, would it be known that that was specific to jail capital projects and not others?
I think it should be known, yeah, if that is the
Okay.
intent. I mean, they could create a line item or ask to create a new cost center would be my recommendation in capital projects fund,
Okay,
new jail cost center.
within capital projects. Okay.
So that would be my question. Is there any action this board could take without the budget board already having created a line item under capital projects? Is there,
Well,
since we know we can't move X amount of money out?
yeah, that was brought to my attention about moving this into a jail cost center, a jail bill cost center. And since there's not one created, we can't move money into that as part of our recommendation here. But we do have a capital account that's already established, so we could make a recommendation of increasing the capital account by that $2 million anticipated ARPA interest revenue for so that it can be spent in the future on a build of a new jail. And then budget board, if they saw fit to create a cost center, then the cost center could be established and that money could move directly into there. But if they just wanted it to go in there and not create a cost center at this time, if we tried to put it into a cost center, it could make a mess of the recommendation, I think. So just including it in our recommendation to go into the capital account, generally speaking, I think would be cleaner for our recommendation.
On the budget board agenda, there could be an item to request creating a jail cost center within the fund.
And if there is and they create it, then it can be moved immediately.
Right.
And it could be included in our recommendation if we moved it into the cap. If our recommendation was to increase the capital account by $2 million with the anticipation that that money would be utilized to build a new jail.
Number would you move over there now? There was a number because like you said, we don't have.
Yeah, I would Cause it's a budgeted item. I would budget the full
The full
2
amount.
million. It'd be an item to actually transfer $2 million to capital projects fund. And then as the money's available, let's say in January, February, if there's enough money in general fund, then we can move it over at that time, like actual cash.
Because there's been some talk that that's a projected number,
That is true.
but based upon the payments that come out of it, it may not accrue.
Be short. And that's where the advantage I see of moving it into the capital account now is because if it is short, whatever that number is going to be utilized for whatever they're in capital. But we're not staring at that number every single month thinking, oh, we've got this extra money. Everybody else is thinking we got this extra money that we can spend on, and we may not have it. And if we do start, if people are banking on that, then we could get into a situation to where we can't fulfill all of those obligations. Whereas if it's in capital, it's out of sight, out of mind, it's there to do something. And if the full 2 comes in, then you got the full 2. If the full 2 doesn't come in, you got whatever it is that comes
It's just not till Keith Monroe about Could we make a recommendation to create a line item under capital projects for jail capital specifically?
Might interject, I think there's things in motion to do that
Oh, okay.
along with other cost centers.
Okay,
So all that's in motion as we speak.
perfect.
So if we want to put the 2 million anticipated ARPA interest revenue into capital, then when I'm making it would be, that there's included in this is $2 million anticipated revenue from interest accrued from the ARPA account. And there's an agenda item later that would create a cost center that this $2 million could be moved right into immediately. If for some reason there's a glitch and it's not ready to create a cost center or it doesn't get through, but they still approve our recommendation, that $2 million is still in the capital account, ready to be assigned to a cost center when a cost center gets established.
It's not specific.
Yeah.
My only question would be, I mean, in the last few pieces,
That's all I. $195.
Leaving these little notes for Micah.
Little Easter eggs.
That would leave us with the 3.1.
Yes, 3,195,783.
Which is pretty consistent with where we were prior year.
I don't think I mentioned this last week, but we've seen another vicinity bill, I think, since we met. What was it? How much was it? 100.
Yeah, they're still tracking.
So they're still double what they were a year ago, first 3 months in
Same. This building,
this building and courthouse and MSC. Yeah.
so we don't know what the jail number is.
They sent me an invoice this morning, and I think theirs is doing the same thing. So
Compared to last year, much more.
Much more in reserve.
No. I'm asking how much that vicinity bill is in exceeding last year.
Oh,
Is
gotcha.
it 40% higher, 30, 50?
it was close to 50.
89%.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not 50. It was close to 100%. It was close to double what it was before.
Most of it spent in this room here. Come on.
This new air conditioning system is supposed to be more efficient. Could we project that out? Is there a way to just take?
We have that in the orange down there on the
Yeah.
watch list. The
350?
vicinity, no, that's the. Well, I can't read it. It may be 350. I don't know.
It is 350.
Okay.
We
I
need
have no clue
Make it a
what
scope.
that is.
That's projected.
But I think the other thing to keep in mind is a good portion of that is the jail on the watch list there for vicinity. And they've estimated pretty significant decreases in their city and their state income. So if they stay on trend with what they've had, those numbers will be higher. So hopefully, I'm assuming that they're tracking that as well. And if they do have extra income coming from there, that they would be planning to spend it on some of these items and other things. Because if they do have increased revenue, I would think that they would spend that on those and not extra things that we haven't considered. Any thoughts? The only thing different than last week is just the discussion about that $2 million. Do we want to leave it in reserve, or is there a motion to move it into capital? If there's not, then we have it as it was on Friday.
I'll make the motion to move that projected $2 million of ARPA interest over to capital.
Okay. Got a motion. Is there any other discussion?
Wait. Can we, it's gonna just continue to gain interest, right? If you limit it,
That's the projected amount, the 2 million for the whole year.
let's say 5 years from now, are we gonna limit it to 2 million? Or?
Well, it'll be different year to year.
So every year, yeah.
So we're recommending putting $2 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
The interest is going to come into general fund, and then 2 million of that, if it hits 2 million, will go into the capital account for that.
Yeah.
But if it winds up being 3 million or 4 million, that extra stays in the general fund for next year. Only 2 million. That's all we're budgeting to go.
That was my question, that we could potentially say, let's keep moving that interest over, correct?
Sure.
Okay. But we take that on each year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would encourage you guys just to wait maybe later in the year, although we've budgeted it not to move the money until you see, you hit that $2 million mark. I mean, it doesn't have to be moved until April, May of next year, right? I don't think it's to be spent within that time frame. So let's say once you hit the 2 million, then you can move it over, move the cash over.
He will come back and help.
I will. I hope you move it.
He's gonna be on a contract. I'm sure it'll be worth it though. All right, so we've got a motion. Is there any other discussion?
Second.
We have a second. There's no other discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain just until I talk to the sheriff. I'm not saying we're against it or anything. I just wanna make sure that I can hire anybody.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right. Everybody comfortable? Okay. The changes are there in the BET recommendation. All the changes highlighted yellow, Danny,
The ones,
for the supplement now.
yes, the column highlighted in yellow, yes.
Everybody's comfortable with that. Is there a motion to present the September supplement as indicated on the screen currently? Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Unanimous vote. All right. We got that taken care of. Make sure we hit everything that we needed to on the agenda. Looks like we did. Is there any citizens that want to participate? Board comments, District 2?
No, thank you.
Clerk?
Good job, everybody. I think it's a good supplement and well thought out.
Court clerk? Assessor? Sure. This won't be the last time, but the last time for budgeting purposes that Danny's going to be with us, I guess. And
Drinks are in his office afterwards.
I just want to thank Danny for all of his hard work. I know your staff does a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes. I want to thank them too. I mean, it's incredible what they do, but you've driven the ship down there from Mount Mouse for
You're a great
quite a
driver.
while, and we seriously couldn't do this without you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's been a pleasure working with you.
All the credit goes to the staff. They do a lot of work. Makes my job easier. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, that's all I have. Any new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.